Hello and welcome to the Language of Pearls podcast. My name's Deborah Gambrel. And in today's episode, the influencer. Did you know that the easiest way to influence someone is by what they see? This is how most advertising works. If I place before you a picture, something that looks desirable, soon enough it'll become an image imprinted in your mind. Think about those wonderful images of a vacation. You see the beach, the crystal clear water, no one else there but you. The sky is beautiful, not a cloud in sight. The waves are gentle. There's a towel on the sand with an umbrella for shade and a cold iced drink just waiting for you. Oh, I know you've seen this image. I know you've dreamed about this image. And I know, like myself, that you probably cannot wait to get there. I get it, my friend. It's very easy to see these images and just absorb them into your mind, and it becomes a desire. Who wouldn't want to go to a beach that's calm, that's beautiful, so inviting and refreshing? What I find interesting is that we're not aware of the many times that imagery is meant to influence us in one way or another. It could be a good thing or not a good thing. Let's look at the way that it's a good thing. In business, it eventually becomes something you want and end up buying. And I know you've heard and read or seen videos of how a grocery store is aligned in such a way so that your eyesight level are the products they want you to buy. But all the way at the bottom or all the way to the top of the stocking shelf are items that most likely are the best prices, but certainly not the products they want you to buy. This strategy works, my friends. But it can also work in families as much as in business. Recently, I read a book about increasing awareness and passion or interest to encourage learning. It's a very interesting book written by Connor Boyack called Passion-Driven Education. In it, he makes a distinction between obsession and interest. And though the whole book circles around encouraging the interest and passion of a child with the ultimate goal of a complete education that's tailored to the child, it reminds me of this very important concept. I know you've heard this phrase before, you are what you eat. But it really all begins with how you think. And this has more to do with the things that you think about, meditate on, dwell on. They can eventually become a part of who you are. And you will produce that which you have already in your heart. If you have ever been in the church as a child, you may have heard the song, "Be careful, little eyes, what you see." And it goes on, "Be careful, little ears, what you hear," and so on. There's truth to that. That is not just for children, but for us adults as well. What we see, like in the scriptures, lets light in or darkness to your whole body. Matthew 6:22-23. Your eye is like a lamp that provides light for your body. When your eye is healthy, your whole body is filled with light. But when your eye is unhealthy, your whole body is filled with darkness. And if the light you think you have is actual darkness, how deep that darkness is. The revelation about this passage is that whatever we consume with our eyes, that which some call the eye gate, is going to become a part of us. As an adult, we better be watching out for what we're consuming with our eyes, what we're seeing visually through our phones, throughout the day, our computers, outside our window, and so forth. Let me share a simple way of reflecting about this truth. In marriage, there was a season in my life where I was extremely annoyed by my husband. It seemed like he didn't do enough. He wasn't romantic enough. He wasn't listening to me or being attentive to my needs. I was struggling with this for a while. Little did I know that I was giving way to resentment in my heart. This was before we received deliverance, or even learned how to keep guard upon our hearts and our spirits. But even during that season, God knows how to speak to you if you ask. I was so frustrated. I asked the Lord, what's wrong with him and how can we fix this? It's a bit laughable right now, but of course, it's always the problem of the other person, never us, right? My husband at the time traveled for work. It was a very short season where he had a job where he had to be away for training and assisting other locations, and so he was gone quite a bit. While I was home alone, I drowned in my loneliness and chick flicks. Of course, this wasn't movies that had any explicit content or inappropriate things to watch. They were like PG and adorable. We had at that time already eliminated anything in our lives that was not honorable to the things of God. God had been purging from us different things that before we didn't think there was anything wrong with it. But He was refining us. Watching movies in the evening was a way that I could relax on my own. And I knew that perhaps my husband wouldn't be too interested in watching all these girly movies. One night, while I was watching one of these, the Holy Spirit asked me a question. "What are you watching?" Obviously, He knew what I was watching. I simply answered, "A chick flick." Suddenly, a revelation came into my heart. God didn't even have to say anything else. It was as if He combined my prayer of frustrations about my husband with these movies that I had been watching, and clarity and conviction fell into my heart. I was viewing my husband in light of fictional characters that were neither real nor would the character be sustainable in real life. This was the reason I was feeling frustrated with my own husband. I was comparing him to men in the movies. I felt like an idiot. That was the root of my frustration. It wasn't so much of what he was doing, because there wasn't anything really that he was doing wrong. It was that he was not measuring up to an unrealistic standard. Once I repented, it was like my heart was able to see things again for what they were. I stopped watching all those girly chick flicks and enjoyed other things. They were still wholesome, but didn't contradict the truth that was in my life. You see, my husband is that same man that sat with me holding hands while we cried when we didn't have enough money to give our child his first Christmas gift. It's the same man that took on the criticism of others when he tried his best. The same man that continued to encourage me in the things of God and in my talents and strengths. This is the same man that watched me be on my knees with my face to the floor, crying out to the Lord to save us. This may seem very dramatic to you, but when you've gone through such wilderness for years, that no matter what you do, nothing works out, and you can never provide enough for your family, and all you witness is the losses, it gets to you. The same man would end up himself kneeling before the Lord, his face to the ground, seeking Him above all things. He took good care of me, and He loved me well. Did he at times forget things? Oh, yes. Did he not realize certain things that I was calling a loss of attentiveness because I had not communicated that I wanted attention in those areas? Yeah, he seemed to fail. Truly, it was me who failed. I had consumed in my soul, through my eyes, things that altered my perception of reality. It's an interesting thing that after I stopped watching all these girly chick flicks, my husband looked pretty good. Let's just say things improved greatly, and it was more on my side than his. Keep your thoughts continually fixed on all that is authentic and real, honorable and admirable, beautiful and respectful, pure and holy, merciful and kind, and fasten your thoughts on every glorious work of God, praising Him always. Philippians 4:8, the Passion Translation. This is not just a spiritual principle, it's a fact of life. The more you look at what others have that you don't, the more you desire what they have and depreciate what you own. We see this also through children. If ever they see a new movie or a show, quick as can be, they're quoting the lines, pretending to be the characters, creating games about it, and eventually playing with anything that resembles it. Or they will ask indefinitely for toys about that show or movie. This informs us how we can influence our kids in a positive direction by exposing them to the things you want their tender hearts to meditate on. Even older kids can be impacted by what they see, and you can provide good things for them as well. In our home, our first boy loved trains. Thomas the Train was in everything he owned. It was a tender cartoon or old train model where Thomas decides to do things his own way instead of following advice, wise counsel, or safety rules. Of course, something happens that places him or others in danger, and thankfully Thomas learns his lesson and is a little wiser for it. Thomas had choices and a healthy environment for consequences, and therefore good learning. As our boys got older, other interests rose up, which is great. But was it time to move on? My husband thought about watching some of our Thomas the Train movies for family movie night. The boys laughed as they remembered some of the trouble Thomas got into and enjoyed it again. Guess what happened afterward? All the trains were out, played with, creativity soared as they expanded the tracks, made new destinations all over the house, and the toys that were collecting dust once again were played with. Some things you're never too old for. It's easy to forget that whatever we consume, whether by actual eating or in this case viewing, will eventually find a way into how we process and how we end up producing. With this in mind, we can be influencing our children in the things we want their young hearts to listen to, providing good things for them to incline to. The things we value and give our lives to, such as the ways of God, are what we're going to nurture. I remember once hearing a Bible teacher say to his son, when he had complained about how other families valued other things, "This is how our tribe does things," is what the teacher said. In the Gambrel household, this tribe does things a little different. And our tribe does what it needs to do. And it does create a safe zone where each member can belong. What about bad influence? Proverbs 13:20 states, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm." Additionally, 1 Corinthians 15:33 warns, "Do not be deceived, but bad company corrupts good morals." There is a very distinct difference in influence that produces good and one that produces evil. But what about well-meaning intentions? Could they ever be bad? Attempting to influence others to do good by your own motivations, on your own time, and ways over the needs of others is evil. Be sensible when you dine with a stingy man, and don't eat more than you should. For as he thinks within himself, so is he. He will grudgingly say, "Go ahead and eat all you want." But in his heart, he resents the fact that he has to pay for your meal. He'll be sorry you ate anything at all, and your compliments will be wasted. Proverbs 23:6-8, the Passion Translation. This known verse is often quoted partially, simply hearing, "As a man thinks, so is he." Let's talk about its context. The Book of Wisdom is so clear to identify that yes, whatever you think may become who you are, but more deeply than that, people for selfish gain may appear to be obliging, and yet in their hearts want only what they can get from you. It's a very sobering reality. Be mindful and alert of what influences you, your choices and your environment. Fueling good things will always lead to good fruit. Encouraging the things you want to see more of is nurturing good habits, not manipulating. We cannot forget, just like Thomas the Train had choices to make, we all have choices. It's a God thing. Perhaps you've never heard of this? The God's love is demonstrated in the free will He has gifted you with. You are able to choose life without Him, and yet be missing on the greatest life you could ever have. An opposite to love, manipulation is attempting to steal our divine right to choose. We cannot make choices for others that they are able to make for themselves. When it comes to parenting, little ones have choices as long as they abide by the safety and rightful stewardship within the household. Gotta love it when kids try to push back on something you've taught them. Recently, my 11-year-old was upset at me because I entered his room without his permission and went through his closet looking for clothes. He said I bypassed his boundaries. Some of you may be laughing, and if I'm honest, I was giggling on the inside too. I simply reiterated our rules, to which boundaries are confidently laid upon. Have you been a good steward of your clothes? No, was the response. When I asked if you had nice clothes to wear for the holiday, and you said the ripped clothes you are wearing are the only things you have to wear, was this the truth? No, was the response again. As a parent, it is my responsibility. You have clothes to wear that fit you and are in good condition. So I have to steward that by making sure you have what you need. Did I find clothes in his closet that were in better condition? Oh, yes, I did. Did I also find a mess of clothes where this child was not stewarding well his clothes? Yes, again. Did I manipulate on what clothes to wear? No. There were better choices and a lesson of reinforcing appropriate boundaries, responsibilities, and stewardship. Boundaries hinge on trust. Lay a hold of the right vision for your eyes to rest upon, leaving no room for misdirection or deception. Guard what your eyes see, your ears hear, and your mind meditates on. For whatever the content, it will find its place in your heart. Utilize this revelation for good things. You need encouragement? Surround yourself with encouraging people. Watch things that boost your faith, and always connect with the one who knows you best, your Creator. Create an environment for what you want to nurture and produce. You got this. After all, you were created to influence the earth in righteousness. Sweet hugs, my friend.